Hey guys, it's Mai from Cafe, and I just had to do an impromptu video because this is crazy. So you guys know that I have been hyper focusing on the whole FTX debacle because I'm very pro crypto. So when these things happen, I like to explain them because I want people to understand that this is not what the space is about. This is centralization and corporate misconduct coming into the crypto space and taking advantage of the lack of knowledge that our government and people have, so they think that they can get away with certain things when it's fraud is fraud, whether it be wire fraud, some other type of fraud. Fraud is fraud, so people oftentimes forget that. In this case, that's why I've been speaking so much about it, because it's a moment to say, hey, like, these things can happen, but because of decentralization, because of blockchain technology, there's so much physical evidence that is public. So when every shit hit the faneth, you know, the evidence is everywhere, and it's a little harder for them to get away with these things once the people become aware. Because in reality, it's kind of sad how like normal people that are crypto enthusiasts, people on Twitter, VCs had to tell people before the SEC and CFTC who were meeting with him and spending time with him and trying to make bills with him before they even noticed. So this is why I'm still an advocate for crypto. I still have hope for crypto. Once these situations happen, people become more aware, so they know that they cannot do this. You will not get away with it. Things will not end up well for you. This is really bad. So the SEC has finally charged Caroline Ellison, which was the CEO of Alameda, which was the hedge fund that FTX slash Sam Bankman-Fried created, or existed before FTX, the exchange, was created. And when he was creating FTX, he didn't really explain the relationship of FTX and Alameda to investors. So that is really not okay, because basically it's a situation where he basically raised funding with the lack of awareness or knowledge that like these two were interconnected, and he never clarified that, because I'm pretty sure if someone would have known, like, hey, there's a hedge fund that like front runs trades and like can't get liquidated, and there's like it can collect debt, we just won't count it. No one is going to invest into your platform, because that is subject for issue, like whenever someone discovers it. They're going to read the charges. And by the way, both Gary Wang and Caroline Ellison have already pled guilty, which means whatever Sam's legal defense of I don't know isn't going to work. Yeah, because these two people can testify for his awareness, where he was, how, and if they've already pled guilty, they most likely have already testified. So I'm not a financial advisor, but this does not financial or legal advisor, but this doesn't look good legally for him and his previous narrative. Um, so this will be a really quick video. Okay, so this is going to be a pretty quick video because I just wanted to get through these charges, and then I'll do another follow-up video with Caroline Ellis's plea deal, because I wanted to compare the two plea deals from Gary Wang to Caroline Ellison, because I don't understand. I'm not being a hater. I'm just saying Gary designed the software and most likely coded the back end for FTX. So not to say the perpetual of, doom, but like I understand that Caroline and SBF are very intelligent, but I don't know how, because I'm only saying this, I'm not giving them any credit or trying to help them, but I'm just saying from the context of when I read that bill proposal, it didn't have any technical knowledge. So even though, again, I'm not giving them any excuses, I do think Gary was more aware of certain inaccuracies or flaws, or maybe created the back end in a way that this could happen to take advantage of that. Whether or not that was on the consent on the behalf of Sam, I don't know. No one knows. However, I think that's a huge issue for you to be able to give them the ability to do all these things. You designed it that way. So I want to, because his charge, he only has like a 50-year charge. She has 115 years. So I'm going to read both plea deals and compare them, but this is just a quick review of the SEC charges. So the Security Exchange Commission today charged Caroline Ellison, the former CEO of Alameda Research, and Gary Wang, the former Chief Technology Officer of FTX Trading Ltd, for their roles in a multi-year scheme to defraud equity investors in FTX. The crypto trading platform co-founded by Sam Bankman-Fried and Wang investigations into other security violations and to other entities and persons relating to the alleged misconduct are ongoing. Yeah, so they're gonna have more charges because obviously, like, we don't even know. Like, we only this is like the touch of this like surface, right? Like, we don't even know the things that they did because this has been going on for like 3 years. So Lord knows. Yeah, and the whole and also no one knows this. So like, they were creating a lot of synthetic assets. How much of their platforms was synthetic assets is something that we all need to explore because remember in the hack, I think 300 million tokens were minted. And if they were able, if someone was able to do it that fast, like how much was the entire balance sheet of um FTX newly minted tokens? That's the problem. Like, did they mint tokens every time they wanted to borrow against something to get more capital to like that's a huge issue if that's the case. And I think that's something that will have to be explored later after culminating all the data. Anyways, according to the SEC complaint between 2019 and 2022, Ellison, at the direction of Sam Bankman-Fried, furthered the scheme by manipulating the price of FTT, and the FTX issued crypto security token by purchasing large quantities on the open market to profit this price. So they're basically saying that Sam Bankman-Fried repurchased FTT, which stabilized its price, okay, which we obviously know, right? Like, because why was it ever $20? It doesn't do anything. It's merely a token. Um, it doesn't have a use case aside from being FTX's actual exchange token. Um, FTT served as collateral for undisclosed loans by FTX to its customers' assets to Alameda, a crypto hedge fund owned by Wang and Bankman-Fried and run by Ellison. Again, Bankman-Fried, Sam, as much as he wants to say he had nothing to do with it, he still was the own 90% of Alameda. So again, the ignorance law, it can only go so far. It could literally only go so far. Um, so the complaint alleges that by the manipulation of the price of FTT, Sam Bankman-Fried and Ellison calls the valuation of Alameda's FTT holdings to be inflated. Yes, that is true. Which caused the value of collateral on Alameda's balance sheet to be overstated, which misled investors about FTT's risk exposure. Perfect. So by manipulating the price, when represented on Alameda's balance sheet, it showed inflated holdings. So when Sam was like, Alameda's fine, FTX is fine. Well, if you keep manipulating the price and rebuying and rebuying and then reminting and then reminting, you never have a clear valuation of how much the token is actually worth. So, and then he's going with this inflated valuation to investors and saying, hey, we're okay, investments give us more money. That's wrong. You can't do that. Like, I think people think that like crypto fraud is different from other fraud. It's not. You can't do that. In addition, the complaint alleges that from at least May 2019 to November 2022, Bankman-Fried raised billions of dollars from investing by falsely touting FTX as a safe crypto asset trading platform with sophisticated risk mitigation method. Yes, and he said that in multiple interviews. They were very risk-free platform to protect customers' assets by telling investors that Alameda was just another customer with no special privileges. Simon says that was a lie. Meanwhile, Bankman-Fried and Wang improperly diverted FTX customer assets to Alameda. The complaint alleges that Ellison and Wang knew or should have knew that statements were false and misleading. The complaint also alleges that Ellison and Wang were active participants in a scheme to deceive FTX investors and engage in misconduct that was critical to its success. The complaint alleges that Wang created FTX software code that allowed Alameda to divert FTX customer funds, and Ellison was misappropriated FTX customer funds for Alameda's trading activity. The complaint further alleges that even as it became clear that Alameda and FTX could not make customers hold, Bankman-Fried, with the knowledge of Ellison and Wang, directed hundreds of millions of dollars of FTX customer funds into Alameda. As part of their deception, we allege that Caroline Ellison and Sam Bankman-Fried schemed to price to manipulate the price of FTT and exchange crypto security tokens. See how they slid that in there, and exchange crypto security token. So also I want to note that you guys that we may end up having a situation where no exchanges can have like tokens. I think that's fair though, because it's like, why do you guys have tokens? Like, I guess it's to like let's say I'm transferring something and I want to convert it just to hold it there until I'm sure about what other token I'm getting. I guess that was the purpose of it, right? But like it's not beneficial if people are borrowing against it and putting loans on it and then creating a token in debt, and it's like, then it gets a little weird because it's like, okay, well, what are you guys doing with the token? So this is, it's like they don't understand, like, you're giving this little evil little man a window. Like, if he wants to say that, yeah, you see, and it's like this, he's thinking, what can I pull out of this so I can like manipulate regulations further from this case? That's why I really don't like Sam Bankman-Fried, because not only do you scam people, you caused a regulatory field day. Like, they are just trying to see what they can shove into regulation at this time. And it's ridiculous because it's like, well, you guys should have been more aware when working with him and sitting in the room with him and having pizza and doing whatever the fuck you guys are doing. But like, sure, fine, push regulation now, whatever. So as a part of, oh, Gary Gensler says this. As a part of the deception, we allege that Caroline Ellison and Sam Bankman-Fried schemed to manipulate the price of FTT and exchange crypto security token that was integral to FTX to prop up the value of their house of cards, said SEC Chair Gary Gensler. Oh, you finally have an opinion, sir. We further allege that Ms. Ellison and Mr. Wang played an active role in the scheme to misuse FTX customer funds to prop up Alameda and post collateral for margin trading. When FTT and the rest of the house of cards collapsed, Mr. Bankman-Fried, Mrs. Ellison and Mr. Wang left investors holding a bag. Until crypto platforms comply with time testing security laws, oh my God, you sir, be quiet. Risk to investors will persist. It remains a priority to the SEC to use all of our available tools to bring the industry into compliance. Oh my God. Honestly, you guys, I'm sorry, pause. This man does not need to be regulating crypto. Look at the associations that he's making. This is directly a result of fraud. Why are you saying that it remains a priority of the SEC to use all of our available tools to bring the industry into compliance? This is not a subject of compliance. This is a subject of someone ignoring regulations because they didn't think that you would notice that they were misappropriating funds. So it isn't about the compliance that you have or have not placed. He can give a flying fish, okay? So these excuses that we're hearing from him, this man is incompetent and no longer needs to be the head of the SEC. You're very incompetent. You can't do it. Hang it up, grandpa, because like literally, and this is your response. Not everyone wants to go to jail. I'm pretty sure every exchange would never operate in this capacity. So like that doesn't, sorry, tangent. As alleged, Mr. Bankman-Fried, Ms. Ellison, and Mr. Wang were active participants in schemes to conceal material information for FTX investors, including the efforts of Mr. Bankman-Fried and Ms. Ellison were artificially propped up the value, which serves collateral, blah, blah, we've already heard that. And pursuing its undisclosed and virtually unlimited line of credit. Yeah, because I think someone was saying that Alameda basically had an account that could go negative in trades or something of that nature with no limit. So it became like a credit system, if that makes any sense, which is stupid because why? Yeah. Mm-hmm. By surreptitiously siphoning FTX's customer funds onto the books of Alameda, defendants hid a very real risk that FTX investors and customers face. The SEC complaint charges Ellison and Wang with violating the anti-fraud provisions of the Securities Act of 1933, the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. The SEC's complaint seeks injunctions against future security violations laws, an injunction that prohibits Ellison and Wang from participating in the issuance, purchase, offer, or sale of any securities except for their own personal accounts, disgorgements of their ill-gotten gains, a civil penalty, and officer and director bar. I'm not for sure what that means. Ellison and Wang have consented to verified settlements, which are subject to court approval, under which they will be banned permanently. Sorry, it's not funny. It's just I'm so sorry. And join with violating the federal securities laws and above described conduct-based injunctions and officer director bars. Upon the motion of the SEC, the court will determine whether or not the amount of disgorgement of ill-gotten gains plus prejudgment interest or civil penalties is appropriate, as well as the length of the officer and director bar and the conduct-based injunction imposed against Wang. In parallel action, the U.S. Attorney Office for the Southern District of New York today announced charges against Ellison and Wang. Ellison and Wang are cooperating with the SEC on ongoing investigation, which is being conducted by Devin and Schneider, David Brown of the Crypto Asset Cyber Unit, and Brian Herrero. It is being supervised by Amy Flahartman. I have to check these people's names because I don't know if they are working with FTX previously. Interesting. Okay, so this is okay. So the other thing I have an issue with, I'm just going to refer to this tweet and we're going to be out because this is a quickie. So the charges. So Caroline Ellison pleads guilty to 7 charges and faces a maximum sentence of 110 years. Gary Wang pleads guilty to 4 charges and faces 50 years. Ellison pleads guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud on customers of FTX, wire fraud on customers of XTX, conspiracy to commit wire fraud on lenders of Alameda Research, wire fraud on lenders of Alameda Research, conspiracy to commit commodities fraud. Ooh, they got our own commodities and securities. They said we don't know what it is, but we're still going to charge you. Damn. That's the issue with this case too, is that they're gonna create laws or like gonna create like framework to charge them. So it's like unlimited charges. Like they're just gonna make up things to charge them that they believe is fraud. So like I don't know in what realm any of this had made sense to them. Because that's the thing. It's like, well, the SEC can create a category for the charge. So that's why these are like the beginning year estimates, but it could go, it's probably going to end up being like 200 years or something, unless they really have something like juicy to give to the SEC in terms of like some crypto knowledge. But I can't see them getting out of this. Conspiracy to commit securities fraud, conspiracy to commit money laundering. Yeah, that's a tough one. You're not going to get out of that one. That's according to court documents. Together, the 7 counts carry a maximum sentence of 110 years in prison. Wang pled guilty for 4 counts: conspiracy to commit wire fraud on customers of FTX, wire fraud on customers of FTX, conspiracy to commit commodities fraud, conspiracy to commit securities fraud, and faces 50 years in prison. And Gary Wang's attorney said Gary has accepted responsibility for his actions and takes seriously obligations as a cooperating witness. So I'm going to get into this in a later video, but I'm just going to mention, like, if Gary Wang designed the software for FTX and basically created the back door, not to be rude, baby, but your charges should be a little bit more different. Like, but maybe Gary Wang is like kind of smart. He was like, I'm not going to touch anything. Like, I'll build it, but I'm not going to touch anything. And maybe there's like no tangible proof that he actually was doing things aside from building the software. Then I can understand his charges being that low. But to me, it should be right up there with it's kind of like, oh, like someone designing the blueprint for the bank robbery. Don't be mad at me. I'm just saying. But again, this I'm gonna end this video in like 5 seconds, but basically this is really bad for Sam because everything he was trying to say how he didn't know, that's not gonna work anymore. Like they have pled guilty. Like they're saying they're pleading guilty so they can hopefully get a lighter sentence, opposed to Sam, who has not pled guilty because he won't admit that he was conscious and aware of anything. So this has ruined his whole defense, and they are going to be testifying against him. So whatever legal defense he had previously, it is not going to work, and I'm pretty sure he's really pissed. Because yeah, that's not a good look now. Like this is a very different sentencing, because this is now sentencing with substance. Because Gary Wang, and you know what? Gary Wang actually probably has a lighter sentence because Gary Wang probably said everything. This is how I built it. This is how you access it. Blah blah blah. And that's why his charges are like that. I bet. Yeah, because there's no way you design it, and like look at the guy, like the guy who designed Tornado Cash is still in jail for and doesn't have a complete charge. We don't know why, but like you know what I mean. And it's not his fault exactly, because obviously he built a decentralized protocol and threw it up on the web and like doesn't really engage with it. But this is someone who's actively created it, worked there, don't know what he did, but he was physically present and active with the FTX, the platform and the software. So very interesting story ongoing, but it's looking real ugly out there for them right now. Okay, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, show me some love. It's hard out here for female content creators of color. Okay, thank you guys. Okay, bye.